Good evening, crafting friends. I'm Dorene Decibus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Simply Stamping Sunday. I'm so happy you're able to join me on this rainy Sunday night. We had some rain late this afternoon, and it's just been kind of a cloudy and overcast weekend, but the temperatures at least have been pretty decent, which has been nice. So here we are, a new month and a new set of stamps we're going to be using. But first, let me start with my show and tell. Let me just get all of this out of the way and we'll get back to our stamp sets. But I've got lots of things to share with you tonight. So we'll move all of this out of the way so you can see what I have for show and tell. I know some of you look forward to this on Sunday nights when I share with you what I have been working on. So let me just put these over to the side. So first of all, I have been working with the Kidding Around stamp set. I just love this little wizard. This is a special step card. If you can see that it is a step card. But then we have this additional fun layer on the front. So this is something that I've been playing with. And I made another one, actually trying some different dimensions and the brand new zinnia paper that's going to be in the online exclusives this week. So here's another one I was working on. I made this piece here a little wider than the one before. And last night I was working with the Up in the Air Sweet collection and was making just a bunch of hot air balloon cards. Here's one that's Wish Beak. I love the Lighter Than Air designer series paper. It's just so nice. Here's another one that I was making and playing around with trying to make a cloud background using the cloud punch. These actually were just die cut directly from the designer series paper. Just kind of fun to see that. This one here is another one using that same collection, and I stamped the balloon here and die cut some clouds and out of the designer series paper a tag and just added some blue to the background. This one's kind of a neat card. I think I showed you one a couple of weeks ago made with a window sheet right here. This is a piece of vellum, and all I did was, it's a regular size card that I cut, that I scored it at 5.5, and then I cut a larger piece off and then cut that in half and then have the vellum in between. So it just holds it together. You can see that on the back. So a fun card. And then I played with Leslie the other day, my friend Leslie, and we were playing with the Cutest Cows bundle. And the name suits it perfectly. This is just the cutest stamp set. I saw this on our Demonstrator Planning Place Facebook page and had to copy it, and I don't remember the demonstrator's name, but here to get the cow spots I used the cloud punch. The next one is a shaker card. If you can see all those kind of moving all around inside. So this is just a normal regular shaker card using the set. And then this one here is a faux shaker card, and I think you can see okay. See them moving. They don't move as much as in the regular shaker. You make a faux one by using a clear envelope to go around the front of the card. And then this one is a fun fold. And you'll see when I open it, the label, the circle turns, and on the back side there's another stamped image. And then on the inside I just have some of the sunflowers So you get the cow and it says congratulations on the front, and then you get the chickens and the rooster that say milk it for all it's worth. And I'll probably be showing you how to make this kind of card. And then the other two things I have to show you, I did not make these. These were gifts for me. But when I attended a stamp camp, this was the gift from the person putting it on. Has this cute label using the Nature Sweetness bundle. And then on the inside, there's a Hershey almond bar. Fits right in the box. And then finally, this was a gift bag that had a gift in it, obviously, that's just made from designer series paper. Of course, with some embellishments on the front, but I thought that was really cute. So that's my show and tell for tonight. So and I forgot my vellum again. So let's get a piece. And we'll take care of that glare. All right, let's put that down, and that will cover that up. Okay, so we are going to be using the Planted Paradise stamp set for this month. There's lots of things I love about this set. We have lots of options for vases, lots of different options for the different types of plants, a little butterfly in there as well. And you'll notice some of these grayed out area. This is a reversible stamp set. So not only do you have the main images, but you can turn that image over and be able to stamp with the back side as well. And because this has no sentiments in it, I am going to be using the Very Best Occasions stamp set from the main catalog. And this just has so many things in it. It has thinking of you, you're the best area ever, excuse me. It has Christmas, sending you smiles for every moment of your special day. For birthday, happy birthday. You make my life happier, endlessly grateful, with comfort and love. So lots of different sentiments, and I will be sharing those. We'll be using the different ones as we're going along. Okay, so let's get started and see what we're going to make tonight. So my first night with a new stamp set, I always do something very simple, and it's just stamping. So we won't do any tricks or anything. We're just going to stamp. So for the first two cards, we're going to use exactly the same pieces of cardstock, but we're going to make two different birthday cards. So you're going to need a piece of 5.5 by 8.5 basic white cardstock. And then we are going to be having, let me look at my notes. I've got it right here. We're going to need a piece of basic white cardstock that measures 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. And then we need a piece of gorgeous grape that measures 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And we're going to be using this for two different cards. And here is the first card we're going to make. Very simple, very easy, very basic. Let's get started. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is just fold this piece of basic white thick cardstock and burnish the edge with my bone folder. There we go. I'm going to just set that aside. And I'm going to start by doing some stamping on here. And what I am going to do first is stamp my happy birthday. So I know where I'm going to want to put my pot. So I'm going to ink up using Memento Black my happy birthday. I am going to stamp off on my cheat sheet to make sure it's stamping straight because I don't want to ruin my card. And I am going to put that right here. There we go. We're going to need that stamp again. So I'm just going to close up my black ink pad so I don't get anything on it. And I'm going to grab my, we're going to use a lot of different stamps tonight and a lot of different ink. I'm going to grab my gorgeous Grape. Ink pad, and we're going to ink up this pot. Make sure I've got it all inked up, and I am going to stamp that right above the happy birthday. Now, because these stamps are photopolymer, when I go to ink up my leaves, or the plant part, in the old olive, it is going to be really easy to put it down on my pot and get it lined up correctly. There we go. Look how easy that was. And I think I have that a little crooked. Not too bad. So now I just need to take my Stampin' Seal and attach this to the gorgeous Grape. There we go. And all I need to do now is attach it to the front of the card. And we have our first card done. And like I said, first night it's just stamping and it's really easy. So there is our first birthday card. Now our second birthday card is going to be a little bit more complicated. But as I said, it's only stamping, and I'm using the exact same materials. So this is the card we're going to make. Doing the same happy birthday, but this time I'm going to use the little butterfly. So we'll start the same. We're going to take this 8.5 by 5.5 piece of Whisper White cardstock, excuse me, basic white thick cardstock. Burnish the edge so it's all ready for the card to go together. Set that aside. And I'm going to take my basic white, which measures 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. And I'm going to do my stamping on it. And again, I'm going to start by stamping my greeting. And I'm going to stamp that right there. There we go. And I am going to just grab a cleaning pad because we're going to need a cleaning pad throughout this card. So let me remind you what the card looks like again. Just using the butterflies, I am going to start with Highland Heather, and it's going to be right above the happy birthday. I'm not using any grid or anything to line all these up. I am just going to start with one and line them all up from there. So I am going to ink this up in the Highland Heather, and I am just going to, let me make sure this is straight, stamp it right above. And I'm going to be putting these away as we go along because I've got so many ink pads out. Okay, so now I'm going to go on either side of this. So I'm going to keep this inked in the Highland Heather because it's just a lighter shade of purple. And I'm going to go to the gorgeous Grape. And I'm going to stamp right beside it like that. Put the gorgeous Grape away. And then we're going to use Pool Party. Now I do need to clean my stamp because I don't want to stamp the old the pool party with gorgeous grape on it. So I'm just using my Stampin' scrub. I put the cleaner on one side, and then the other side is left dry, so I can just wipe the stamp and then dry it off. So that's how I use that. Okay, so now pool party. I'm going to do the same thing. Ink this baby up. And I am going to go to the left and stamp that down. Now, this is not going to be perfect stamping because I'm not using a stamp positioner. I'm not using any kind. I'm just going to be stamping them across in a row. And I'm okay because a handmade card is not going to be perfect. And that is okay. All right, so now I'm going to go right above here, and I'm using Balmy Blue next. So again, I'm going to just ink up the stamp, and I am going to go right above the Highland Heather. And clean my stamp. I don't have to because I'm using a darker blue next, but I still am going to. Then I'm going to take one of our new colors this year, Azure Afternoon. It's a really bright, beautiful blue. I'm going to ink it up and go right in. Went a little down. That's okay. All right, clean this one. If I mess up too much, I can always go on the back side, but I don't think I'll have to. Okay, Lemon Lime Twist is next. There we go. And we're going up to Pumpkin Pie next. I have all of my ink pads out for this. And boy, my rack is pretty empty since I'm using 10 different colors on this card. So we're going to go right above the center. There we go. And I think I am going to use... I'm going to be putting a couple butterflies on the inside. So I think I'm going to be using my top colors for this. So there we go. On the inside, I just tapped in the orange. And I'll continue putting in some different colors as we go along. And next, we're going to use Daffodil Delight. And that is going to go to the right. Let's clean that. Might as well clean this one while I'm at it. And then our final color is going to be Flirty Flamingo. And then I'm going to put a couple Flirty Flamingos down here at the bottom on the inside of the card. All right, so to put this together, so my third row, my first two rows look really good together, but if I had just had those two up a little bit, it would have been perfect. But that is okay, as I've said. We're going to just put this together. This is the simplest kind of stamping when we're not using any designer series paper. We are just using our regular cardstock and ink. And we'll put this on, and card number 2 is done. And there we have it. Look how easy that was. So in less than 20 minutes, we have done 2 cards. Now our third card, I found this on Pinterest, and it was made by Amy Winders, and I'm changing it a little bit, but this is what the layout of the card is. This time we're going to be stamping a little more. We're going to use the vases and some different greenery. We're going to be doing some stamping on and stamping off, and I will show you what we're going to do. So again, I'm going to start with the greeting. This one I'm using Love You, Miss You. So I'm going to fold our piece of basic white thick cardstock, burnish it nicely, and that's not my piece. Where'd my... Well, I need to cut this because that's a little too big. I must not have finished cutting it. So we have this 5 1/4. We want this to be 4 inches. So just a quick little trim and we're set to go. There we go. And that will fit nicely on the front of our card. Actually, I think I want it. No, that looks good. The card is a little big. I guess I wasn't thinking. I was doing this on my first day of vacation this week, planning out these cards. And I can say I just didn't do all my cutting. Okay, let's get back to stamping. So again, I'm going to start with stamping my greeting because I want to center that, and then I can center my stamping based on my greeting. So I'm doing the Love You, Miss You, and I'm going to bring that right about here. There we go. Love the font of that one. So now I am going to be using for the pots the current in colors. So I'm going to start with the largest cup, the largest vase, and I'm going to use Moody Mauve. So let's ink this up really well. Okay. And this is going to go right above it. I'm just going to bring this down just a tad so I can make sure I'm getting it in place. And I'm just going to press that down, make sure I'm getting even pressure. There we go. Now, what I want you to notice is it will, as the ink is absorbed and dries, it will smooth out a little bit. If it doesn't, I'm going to show you how to fix it. Actually, I'll show you in a couple places. Let me just find the right blending pens. Here we go. So if you have some spots that when you stamp a solid image and they have some areas that you're not happy with, all you need to do is to take your Stampin' Blends in that same color, and I am going to just open that up, and I'm just going to go in, and I'm actually going to use the darker. The light one isn't going long enough, dark enough. And I'm just going to go into those places where I didn't get even coverage. And I'm just going to kind of dab over it. Not really coloring, just dabbing. And you can see already there's a big difference. And that's all you have to do when that happens to you. Happens to me once in a while, but it also fades out over time, so that's good. Okay, so the next color, so I'm done with the Moody Mauve. The next color I'm going to use is the Boho Blue, and that is going to be the pot we used earlier. And I'm going to stamp this right beside it. There we go. If that doesn't fill in nicely, I'll do the same thing with my blends. And then I'm going to use the Wild Wheat with the smaller vase. This was a color I think all of us kind of had to grow into, and now I use it all the time. There we go. Those are 3 vases. Okay. So now we're going to start adding some plants. So I'm going to start with Garden Green. I'm going to be using 3 different greens for these pots. And the first one I am going to use are this little leaf plant. So getting it inked up, I'm going to line it up to the vase and stamp. And plant number 1 is ready. Okay, plant number 2, the one right in the middle, I am going to be using just a little tiny leaf, and I'm going to be stamping it multiple times. So we are going to be using Mossy Meadow for that. And I am just going to be stamping it multiple times, going across the front, overlapping leaves, even stamping in and getting a lighter leaf in the background. And there we go. So we've got that plant all set. And now for our last one. I am going to be using Granny Apple Green. I'm going to be using these 2 plants. I have a larger piece and a smaller piece, and I've just got them on the blocks in different directions. I'm going to start, and all of these I am going to stamp on and off. I am going to start with my large one, and I am going to stamp it here and then right beside it. And I'm going to do that again. And then I'm going to take my smaller one, and I'm just going to be stamping this right around it. Just filling in the plant. And there we go. That is all done. And that was the hardest part of the stamping. So now I'm going to use dimensionals to raise this piece up on the front of the card. And I should have stamped, I think I stamped something inside. Yeah, I'm going to grab those two colors and let me do that. I want to just stamp something on the inside of the card as well. So I'm going to use that wild wheat. And I will stamp the vase here. And then take the garden green ink. And here they are. I always stamp something on the inside of the card, so I can't believe I've been forgetting tonight. There we go. You can see just how easy this is to stamp and get a good look. Okay, so now that the stamping is done, let me just remove the backings to all the dimensionals. And here is our final card. We'll be making 2 cards every other night for this month. So here's this card we made. And let me see where I put my others. And we made this one first, this one whoops, nope, that's the same one, and this one second, and those are our first week's cards for Simply Stamping Sunday using the Planted Paradise stamp set and the greeting set, Very Best Occasions. So thank you so much for joining me. I have a great fun fold for Friday night. I'll just let you have a peek of the front of the card. But this is the card we'll be making Friday night at Fun Fold Friday. The fun fold is all on the inside, and I'm not going to let you see that. You'll have to show up Friday night at 6 o'clock and see what we're going to do on the inside of this card. But it's going to be fun, and it's going to turn out to be a beautiful birthday card. So I'll be back Friday night. And, of course, I'll be back next Sunday night at 7 p.m. for another edition of Simply Stamping Sunday. Have a great week, everyone. Good night. Bye-bye.